Good afternoon, Buffaloes Nation. I'm your host, Graham, the G Show Forsyth, and welcome in to another edition of the Buffaloes podcast brought to you by Pilot Mound's lovely sponsors and partners. And brought to you by goaltenders Gordy Tumilson's brand, Elite Prospects, Movement, Fitness, and Performance Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, as well as Terrico. Speaking of Gordy Tumilson, he's the only guest on today's show. It's very busy times down at Pilot Mound Hockey Academy is, of course, officially into the postseason. As for the, U18 male prep Buffaloes, they got things started last weekend, and we'll get into them right away. Me and Gordy Tumilson talk about them, but just want to give a shout out to the U15 prep Buffaloes first off, who had themselves a huge win yesterday over RHA Kelowna, of course, for Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy's U15 prep squad. They're in Pool B in the Division 2 Western Championships playoff bracket. Pilot Mound, they finished yesterday, actually. Their round robin play is, or I guess it technically is round robin play, but the matchups to determine, what their matchup today is going to look like as well as on Saturdays. So yeah, for Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, faring pretty well up until this point, and Kobe Parker and Max Faulkner both playing huge roles in Pilot Mountain's victory over RHA Kelowna, as Kobe Parker with a 40 save performance and Max Faulkner with a Hattie, an assist as well for 4 points. Me and Gordy Tumilson are going to get into the U15s as well as talking about the U18 male prep Buffaloes as well as all the other teams in the academy with postseason coming up. As this is the Buffaloes podcast, Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy is officially podcast on your home for Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy coverage on G Show Productions and gshow.ca. Gordy joins the show next. Gordy Tumilson joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast with officially playoff hockey to talk about now, as the U18 prep male Buffaloes started things off down in BC against three really good teams, Gordy, and three really good efforts from the Buffaloes, especially in that first game against RHA Kelowna, only losing 3-2. But unfortunately for them, not coming away with any victories down in Penticton, BC. Your assessment on the three games, though, seems like they really did make a statement, even though they lost all three.
Yeah, very, very clear there. Statement is a great word. They did make a statement. They made a statement all year long. By the time they didn't play any exhibition games, to the fact that they played really well all year long, very consistently at a high level of play for the quality of players that we were able to drag into Pallet Mound this year. Anthony and Mason, the coaches, got these kids prepared. The kids picked it up as a 20-man unit, and off they went. The big surprise, of course, was in Montreal when they knocked off the first seed there. And lo and behold, RHA Kelowna, which is a powerhouse, absolutely could play junior, probably junior A, and compete at a pretty high level there. We were one goal away in overtime, knocking those suckers off too. So there you go. I mean, that's a great. Now we got outshot pretty badly, but when you got staunch defense and a good defensive system, and got a great quality goaltending, boy oh boy, all kudos to all three of those groups doing their thing. 3-2 OT loss to the other. Now, then we played two more games and lost those ones pretty closely, 4-1, 5-1 to teams that are in that upper echelon as well. And so just crawling into the playoffs at the end of the season, making that last playoff spot in the Division One side. The kids, didn't disappoint at all in any way, shape, or form. They tried really hard. They did their best, and they've made a name for themselves. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, for that game against RHA Kelowna, you're right. They end up going to overtime, and not only that, but forcing overtime. And you take a look at all their games this past week, this weekend, I guess, in BC. Seems like they were able to stick with every one of these teams, with the exception of the last game when they gave up 4 goals in that third period. But We've talked about it all year long, right? How this program continues to progress. What does this say about their progression now that they're pretty much knocking on that door of that upper echelon? I mean, they got into it, getting that last playoff spot and proving, like we said, they can compete against these teams this past week.
Yeah, all the improvements go to hopefully effort for next year's teams. The there'll be some kids that stay behind. Hopefully, we can replace the ones that we're losing with equal type players, and that more players who deem academy hockey as a route to the place will come to us. Now, of course, the important thing here, or one of the most important things here, is our two of our best players, and we've interviewed them at the same time a couple of weeks ago. Our forward and our goalkeeper. Um, both guys came from established academies in Winnipeg and in Calgary,
Yeah.
and with that, we found that their reasoning was they needed to get away from their home facilities and where they felt very comfortable and get into a place where it was the next step for them. They were going to go to junior hockey next year. Well, play away from home in an academy setting, a little bit more safe, a little bit more familiar. You don't get cut from academy teams, and so you're able to stick with it, get settled in, play really well, and then learn about doing your own laundry, learn about all of those kinds of things on the road, and all that stuff that you wouldn't get if you stayed at home and lived with mom and dad. So they set kind of a point here, and we're going to use that part of our marketing in the future is to say, hey, if you're looking to go somewhere else next year, and you're going to have to probably in your junior year or your first year of college or whatever it is, why don't you come play with us and get a good sense for where you are, and still be safe in terms of security, great dorm facility, great food, great all those kind of things, everything's perfect, and then you're set up to go to college and not have to be sort of challenged on that side of things or junior hockey when you have to leave home for a longer distance and a little bit more treacherous opportunity.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially at that age, you're basically just entering adulthood, right? Like you're
Mhm.
just turning 18 very soon. You're the end of your minor hockey career, and I think like to stay in an academy where one, you get a chance to go against competition where you're among the older players, so you have a chance to build your skills up even more, and that comes with more confidence and maybe less pressure, right, compared to playing at the junior level right away and jumping in. So yeah, I mean, for this U18 program, definitely, like we said, a statement made this year with being able to bring in the talent that they did, and can't wait to talk about near the end of this season of the Buffaloes podcast about what's next for this group. What's next for the U15 Prep Buffaloes, Gordy, is this U15 male prep group is going to be starting off their postseason coming up on Wednesday, and then they play on Thursday as well. They're taking on RHA Kelowna, and then they're taking on the Notre Dame Hounds to start things off. And they're also, of course, starting today against Pacific Coast Hockey Academy. All games at the Memorial Arena in Penticton, BC. We've talked about this group so much in a positive light this year. Another group with a lot of top end talent and players that have been stepping up along the way. Reiterate the expectations again, I guess, for this group heading into three big matchups.
Yeah, and these will be great games. They're in a division where they're all, in the Division Two thing, and that's okay. We get to compete and with in favorable, great arena in Penticton, by the way. Our friend Gavin Hildebrand was picked up in the WHL draft last year by the Penticton Bees. So there you go. We're in Penticton. This is a great place for our kids to be. And it'll be very competitive hockey. It'll be top end hockey. Of course, playoff hockey is always another notch higher. Doesn't matter what A3, A2, A1, double
Right.
A, triple A, academy hockey, NHL. It doesn't matter what league you're playing. You can just know they're going to play another notch higher, maybe two, because it gets really important to play your best And this is a great opportunity for the teams to, as teams to, excel. And then, of course, the players get a chance to really show the folks back at home and of course the scouts and the coaches that are watching from other teams and other leagues where they may be headed to get a chance to watch them maybe play their best hockey this season or hopefully play their best hockey this season in front of bigger crowds and larger audiences on the Flow Hockey TV that we have across the world. So good on our kids to have that opportunity.
And a group last year, Gordy, well, not this group specifically, but a age level at the academy that ended up going all the way to the finals last season and falling short. But they have another great opportunity to go far again and potentially make it back to the spot with the talent that Colin Fafara and this coaching staff had recruited and brought in when we're talking about guys like, you know, oh, I pulled up the wrong roster one sec. Um, it's happened
You can edit the
quite a bit
thing.
today. Yeah. Um, but yeah, when you talk about players like Brock Vaden, Hinata Hashimoto, who has had a 20 goal season, 50 points, Max Faulkner, 33 goals, Eden Korajek with 27, Nash Ramage, not Maddox, but Nash, he comes in and puts up 20 goals this season for the
Yep.
Buffaloes. So they still have a lot of good pieces on this roster, although this group didn't exactly go through that run last year. It's a new experience for them this year in this group in particular. But talk about, how huge that is to be this loaded heading into a great opportunity to go far in Division Two once more.
Sure. Well, they were good in division with the Division One teams, came up just a little bit short. And now they're going to. I think they're going to excel again in this Division Two thing, and we hope so, and we believe so. The really good news is that the kids that are watching us that aren't in our league or are looking to us or looking for places to go, look at the kind of players that we have, and they look at their stats and they look at all that stuff, and they go, "Do I want to go to this school?" Well, you talk to the parents, and that's why we're starting to get better players all the time at that lower level. And they're developing from 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds into really good players, and they're sticking around for an extra year, a la our friend Carson Carls and others. Gavin Hildebrand, Yuki Kito, who moved up as goalies to U17. Hanata is Yuki's buddy from Japan. It's his second year in this particularly. Look at how well he's done this year. So, the people that are listening and paying attention, and for our recruitment people, we just get better. It's because of the ice time, because of the facilities, because of the coaching, because of all of those things, and having them sequestered kind of in that small town, not because it's a small place and there's nothing to do. There's a ton to do. And it all has to do with hockey and education and fitness and health and growing and maturing. So good on our guys. They'll do well in this playoff again because they get all those components and they're peaking almost always right at the right time.
And for this Buffalo squad, they had 2 wins in a row heading into the postseason as they'll be taking on, well, that team that they beat 2 out of the 3 times in their last 3 games of the regular season against Notre Dame. That's coming up on Thursday, but of course, today they start against Pacific Coast Hockey Academy and tomorrow against RHA Kelowna. All of that can be watched on Flow Hockey on Flow Sports, as mentioned. As for the U17 male prep Buffaloes. They're still in the regular season, technically. They play their last game tomorrow night against RHA Winnipeg, but on the 6th, so this past Friday, a close battle against South Alberta Hockey Academy, but coming up just short. Score 3-0. Takeaways from that game, Gordy.
Saha's got apparently a really good defensive team and strong goaltending, and they did. I mean, I watched a little bit of that game, and it was a la a playoff game, and both teams played really well. And yep, Saha got a couple of got some goals and won the hockey game, and that's the way it is. But but nonetheless, our guys were playing a lot of tough hockey, a lot of tougher hockey now, and good on them. And this game coming up with the rink will be a great start for us to get ready for our Division II playoffs as well. The rink guys, of course, are in Division I, and they're a darn good team. Good for them, and so this is be a great opportunity for our guys to really bear down on the defensive side and see where we can take some advantage on miscues on the offensive side by the rink kids, and that's what we're looking for. Great D, great goaltending, and timely goal scoring that wins you championships at whatever level you're going to play at.
For this U17 group, we've talked about all teams as much as we can in a positive light this year, and this team has given us a lot of positives to
Yeah.
talk about. Just given their roster and knowing that it's just about time for playoff time, like you said, a playoff like type of game against Saha. How huge is that? That even though they don't come away with the victory, they prove that they can still stay close because 3-0, really, looking at it against a really good team like that isn't too bad, isn't it?
No, no, it's not. It bodes well for the playoffs coming up. Again, they've got a system. They got to run the system. Got to make sure it works. Obviously, it works pretty good. Saw's a pretty good goal scoring team, as well as darn good defensively. And of course, they're practicing the same things. Where they're doing what we're trying to do: play good defensively, don't make mistakes. Tidy up in your end, break out, get down the ice, get a rush, get a power play, get a power play goal, whatever works, and try and feeling themselves out. So when they go to the playoffs as well, they're ready. So both teams are in playoff mode, and for us to be that close, unfortunately, we didn't score. But again, the good goaltending at the other end was a part of the reason for that, and that's part of the game. Those darn goalies get in the way sometimes, don't they?
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, just take a look back at some of the great upsets throughout time. A lot of that has to do with goaltending in this sport. And you know what I think is big for Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy is Sahad's ranked seventh in the U17 prep
Yep,
division. And well, for Pilot Mountain, we know in Tier 2, the competition is not quite as good as
a little bit
Division
less.
One. So another great opportunity in front of this group for Rick McConnell and co. to make another run at that Division 2 title down in Penticton, British Columbia, when their postseason starts. But first, they end off their season against RHA Winnipeg. Coming up tomorrow from the time we're doing a recording of this interview, Gordy. As for the U18 female preps, their postseason set to start coming up on Friday, and
13th.
then they play
Yeah.
Saturday. But they finished off their season against RHA Winnipeg, and at least they're able to get some goals in there,
Yep.
right, Gordy? I
Yep.
mean, being shut out the game before they had against Shawnigan Lake School, being able to put up three is big time, especially against their rival in RHA Winnipeg.
Yeah, Archie Winnipeg's got a good team, and for us to be able to get some goals, that's a bonus. That's been the hardship all year long. We uh, we've been okay defensively for the most part. But now that we're scoring some goals, I think we've loosened up a little bit on the defense so that the teams do get a few more, maybe a few more better chances. Not so many more goals, but a few more better chances because we're trying to make the effort to score, and that seems to get in the way sometimes for teams about the checking, and so you lose focus on the checking side. But nonetheless, we're going to be playing against teams more in our weight category, and so there you go. We're going to be playing and hopefully competing. And I look forward to our girls knocking off one or two teams. They're certainly capable of it. Get the good goaltending, play solid defense, and get some timely goals without causing hardship on the defensive side. We've got a chance to show off in the playoffs a little bit.
It's definitely possible against OHA Black. They just beat them back on
Yep.
February 20th, so not that long ago. A few weeks removed from that, as they'll be taking them on the Saturday afternoon matchup. But that first game against Shawnigan Lake School, Gordy, they lost 9-0 to Shawnigan Lake back on the 22nd. A chance for Pilot Mountain to come out of the gates and, pull off a shocker coming in with maybe a bit of a chip on their shoulder, right? Looking for revenge.
Yeah, that was a poorly timed game for our girls. I think we were in a bad spot from a scheduling standpoint, and we're just bad. That was all there was to it. Johnny and Lake is a good team. They were good. So you get that kind of mismatch. This will be a lot closer this time. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to knock Shawnee and Lake off would be wonderful. Is it probable? No, but maybe wonderful. And yeah, it would be a shock. But you know what? So that's why you play the games in sports. You just never know when the scheduling thing works on our behalf for a change, and we get a lucky bounce here, a little puck luck here, there, and everywhere, and bingo, you knock off the top team or one of the top teams in your division. So good luck to our girls against a pretty good hockey team in Shining Lake.
Yeah, and of course that game goes at 11:30 a.m. On Fridays. So if you can spare some time on Friday morning for anyone that may, have some time to kill before noon, check out Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy going up against Shawnigan Lake School. But one last point on them, Gordy. We talk so much about their defensive identity, and you just talked about how the goal scoring is, of course, been an issue this year, and it has. But if this team is able to get some goal scoring going, you know this better than anyone playing in goal. It takes so much pressure off of yourself defensively, and especially as a goaltender.
Oh, yeah. Well, to know you have to win 1-0 every game is not it's not an easy task. So you don't think that way in goal. You can't.
Yeah.
You're up there just stopping every shot they take and trying to be in the right place and control rebounds accordingly, et cetera, et cetera. So you can't get into a mindset that it's 1-0, but you're a human being too. And so that leaks into your bloodstream as well. So if you can get a couple goals, especially to get them early enough, and now there's some impetus to even believe you might knock these guys off. That's a bonus, to be in that position when you're not normally in that position. I guess the sort of the negative side to the thing is now you're starting to score some goals. Well, now we can win some games, goalie. Keep them all out. We can win 3-2 now instead of losing, 6-3. So let's not let them score any goals on us, and so now we can win some games. So, it's a catch-22. But yeah, no, the goalies are just going to go out and do what they do every game, and that's what we teach them is to stop every shot they possibly can, and hopefully it's enough, and we stop one more than the other guy does down the other end.
Yeah, and I mean, best of luck to the Buffaloes, which I kind of got distracted here, Gordy, because 22 minutes ago they just announced that a new assistant coach is going to be joining their staff, and Kelly Romanchuk. I'm pretty sure I said that correct. I apologize if I didn't. I'll get it right throughout time, but yeah, huge news for Pilot Mountain adding to their coaching staff and a female on the female U18 prep staff now.
Yeah, that's a bonus. You stole my thunder. That was my
I'll
big announcement. Thanks, Graham. Anyway, I
beat
knew
you
this
to it.
last night. Right? I'm part of the secret group that knows these things the day before, but this is not a world secret. Kelly's going to join us. Yes, having a female on the female team. We've tried very hard in the past to do that, and that hasn't happened for whatever reasons. And now we've got an assistant coach that's a female person, and great on us to have that finally figured out. Because I just know that girls to women, women to girls is just a better deal. Guys, we just don't have that kind of sensitivity, and so other things need to happen. And so this is good. We are in the interview process with the head coach right now. So we've got some guys and gals on that. And we expect to have some sort of an announcement maybe in the next week or so. And hopefully I'll get that news before you do, and I'll be able to announce it myself. And anyway, where Ryan Carls is moving off coaching, back in looking after his farm. His wife will be pleased with that and his farm hands and Kurt is going to be working a little bit more on the administrative side. So we've got some room now to put in some new coaching and get some fresh blood in there and find some better scores and all that good stuff to make that team a little bit better.
Well, congrats to Coach Carls and of course to Coach Fortney for, what they're going to be, you know, doing in their future endeavors here coming up. Kurt, of course, still staying with the academy, and I guess you can kind of say, Gordy, it's their last dance coming up as a coaching duo for this point in time, at least in Pilot Mound. Congratulations to them on their impact with Pilot Mound Hockey Academy, and can't wait to see what Kurt can do in his new position coming up. As I'm not sure what's going up upstairs. I just heard some sort of loud banging, but we'll finish off with this, Gordy. Any other news that I don't know about that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Well, yeah, well, nothing. We talked about the games and the past games and the future games. We're still working on some marketing things, and one of the things that we're doing this year we haven't done before, again, summer camps. We've
Right.
got one in Morden. We've had one in Winnipeg, one or two in Winnipeg in the past, but this year summer camp's going on in Morden, and in Pilot Mountain. It'll be from the 10th to the 20 and to the 29th of August. In there, there's a camp on in one of those two places for different age groups, different categories. Basically for conditioning for the most part, getting kids ready for the summer, for the winter programs, for AAA tryouts, et cetera, et cetera. So we want to get all. So we've taken on that responsibility. It's a huge deal. You got to be able to pay for the ice. You got to have good coaching, which we do. Of course, we use our coaches to work on those things. We keep our coaches busy, and they get to work with the local kids. The local a bunch of kids from outside the area have a shorter distance possibly to go to, or a place they can actually get into. Winnipeg and Brandon fill up like in a minute. I'm talking to one of the goalie moms last night here in Winnipeg. She said, "If I'm not on this one, is the first moment that thing opens up for goalies, bingo, it's done." So I said, "Well, we've got to do this." So yeah, so summer camps are on. Take a look at the website for all ages from I think 13 right to 17.
Well, right on. And of course, summer training, very important, especially with the season coming up and right around the corner by then. So yeah, be sure to stay on the lookout for more details coming up about Pilot Mountain's summer camps, which very exciting news about that, expanding the operation just a bit more. Gordy Tummelson joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast once again for another week. Can't wait to check back next week with you, Gordy, and to see how the U15 male preps do, as well as those U18 female prep Buffaloes.
Right on. Thanks, Graham. Appreciate it.
Always a blast getting to talk to Gordy Tummelson for another edition of the Buffaloes podcast. And you may be wondering why I'm wearing an Indianapolis Colts hat. Well, the horseshoe on it, thought I'd wear it for good luck for the Buffaloes. And man, seems like their U15s don't need it. Checking in on their schedule, how their 3 games went. A 7-3 victory against Pacific Coast Hockey Academy to open things up. As mentioned already, a 4-1 win on Wednesday against RHA Kelowna, and then they put the beat down on the Notre Dame Hounds, winning 10-5. So Pilot Mound hitting double digits. They go into a matchup today that I think is pretty much over at this point. It started at 11:45 a.m. Pacific time, or I guess it's just starting since not even started yet actually, since we are 2 hours ahead here in Manitoba. So best of luck to Pilot Mountain in that game going up against Star Hockey Academy, as this Buffalo squad, this program that is, made it all the way to the finals last year, looking to, of course, come home with a championship this year, as this is what their competition has looked like to this point, running the table against RHA Kelowna, Notre Dame, as well as Pacific Coast Hockey Academy. And yeah, big part of course, that victory that they had against RHA Kelowna, a hat trick performance from Max Faulkner, a 40 save performance from Kobe Parker. Pilot Mountain getting their best to step up, among their best players to step up so far in Penticton, British Columbia. As for the male U18 Buffaloes, as mentioned, they went 0-3 over their week, but or a weekend, I guess. But got to give them credit. They were a goal away from beating RHA Kelowna, which for RHA Kelowna, they ended up winning it all, going back to back. So Pilot Mountain put up a great fight against all teams that they faced in terms of Shawnigan Lake School and BWC Academy. This group should be very proud of taking another step forward as a program at this age level, as it was their first time ever making it into the Division I side of the Western Championships in the CSSHL, which, pretty darn exciting to see Pilot Mound being able to continue to take next steps in really all of their teams with their academy. We're going to send it to a commercial break, and then I'll be right back to talk about the female U18 Prep Buffaloes. We'll show you their schedule, and then we'll show you the pool that the U17 male Prep Buffaloes will be playing in Penticton, British Columbia, as they don't start still until next week. But yeah, still, I'm gonna break down, or not break down, but show you the pool that Pilot Mountain will be playing in for their U17 Prep Buffaloes next week. So yeah, that's coming up next on the Buffaloes podcast. Stick with us as we're gonna throw it to a quick commercial break by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Welcome back to the Buffaloes podcast, everybody. Just got done showing you the interview that I had with Gordy Tummelson for this week's edition of the show. Special thanks to him for coming on and being the guest for this week. We've talked playoff hockey. We've talked about all things Buffaloes, of course, as always. A new coach joining Pilot Mountain's U18 female prep staff, too, which will show her graphic coming up right away. But yeah, just got done talking about the U18 male prep Buffaloes, which came close to beating RHA Kelowna in their first game, but ended up falling in overtime. No shame for Pilot Mountain's U18 male prep Buffaloes, as it's another step in their upwards trajectory as a program in Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy. And yeah, they ended up losing to the champs, a team that went back-to-back in RHA Kelowna, who were, of course, the number one seed this year in the U18 prep male division. As for the female U18 prep Buffaloes, they start their action, I guess, in the morning in Penticton due to what the time zone is, Pacific time. We're 2 hours ahead here in Manitoba. So that game is just underway now. Female U18 preps taking on Shawnigan Lake School, and then tomorrow afternoon they take on OHA Black at 2 p.m. OHA Black, they beat them last time out. Pilot Mountain looking for the same type of result, trying to play spoiler here against their opponents over the weekend in the Western Championships, female U18 prep division. And for, well, the female U18 preps, they're going to welcome in a new assistant coach to their program. I'll try to pronounce her name as best as I can here, as I've looked up what the pronunciation should be. But yeah, Coach Kelly Hirominchuk joining the Pilot Mountain staff next year. Of course, Pilot Mountain not done yet, as they're going to be looking to fill that coaching staff, of course, with Coach Ryan Carls moving on, and Coach Fortney, as Gordy talked about, going to be moving into more of a behind the scenes role. But yeah, exciting to see a female U18 prep coach being a woman, Miss Kelly Hirominchuk. Can't wait to see what she's able to do with Pilot Mountain next season. And hey, maybe when I get a chance to talk to her at some point in the future, we can make sure we got that last name pronounced right, hey? But as for Pilot Mound, outside of, you know, playoff talk, it's always fun to talk about what they got coming up in the off season, the spring, the summer. Well, they're rolling out summer programs for the first time ever, which is pretty awesome. They're all going to be going in August. Conditioning camp in Morden, as well as Pilot Mound, and then a U17 slash junior, U18 or U17 and junior slash U18 camp down in Pilot Mound in earlier August. So, yeah, if you're looking to get in shape before the season, looking for a tune up, Pilot Mound summer camps could be the place for you to go to fine tune those skills. So check out all their information at pilotmoundhockeyacademy.com for more details on these camps. And we'll be, I'm sure, talking about this more and more as we wrap up season 3 here of the Buffaloes podcast. As for the male U17 Buffaloes, they're going to get set to start their playoffs coming up next week. And yeah, for Pilot Mound, gonna be in a pool where they'll be taking on teams like OHA Black, or OHA Edmonton, sorry, as well as Shawnigan Lake School, the North Shore Warriors, and the Indigenous Sports Academy. I think this U17 group should have high hopes heading in. It's going to be interesting to see if they're able to come home with an opening win, as when they went on their championship run last year, they lost their first game of the Western Championships round robin round in pool play, and then they ran the table after that, going on an undefeated run. So yeah, for Pilot Mound, I think what's great about this format is, like, if you do drop a game, like, it's not like your season is over right then and there, right? And well, for Pilot Mound, they're hoping that they can replicate their success from last year in Penticton, British Columbia, when, of course, they brought home their second title in program history under Rick McConnell. Gonna be a fun weekend of action for the U17 male preps, as they're the last age group to get going at the 2026 Western Championships in the CSSHL. But stick with us. We're going to be back next week. I'm not sure if it's going to be on Friday or back to our regular scheduled programming on Wednesdays. But yeah, the reason, and I feel like I've explained this so much, but the reason why some episodes have been delayed as we've gone on here, as the season's gone along, well, I've been dealing with broadcasting Winnipeg High School Hockey League playoff action. We're moving into covering the MMJHL playoffs, which start tonight for us. They started yesterday, but yeah, also female U18 AAA. They're going into their championship series next week, and we just got done wrapping up their semifinals coverage over these past few weeks. So yeah, things are starting to die down a bit more now as we head closer and closer to April. As it is still not even mid-March. It's getting close to that, of course. As man, this month has already been flying by, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, no matter what, you're gonna get another edition of the Buffaloes podcast next week, where maybe we have some more guests other than Gordy Tummelson. Maybe we talk to some players from the U18 male preps, maybe from the U15 male preps, but that'll probably be in a few weeks, if anything, since they'll just probably be getting back as we start to roll into production for next week's content. But yeah, we got plenty of great content outside of the Buffaloes podcast, of course, not only on our YouTube channel, but as well as on our Uscreen service, which we've been dropping that website in our description of our episodes all season long. If you want to check out any of our content, support our network, it would mean a lot. But if not, yeah, just excited to know that we've been able to have some passion fans tuning into this podcast consistently all year long. We really do appreciate that. If you are new here to the podcast, or you've been watching for a while and haven't yet subscribed, be sure to do so, as then you'll be able to stay up to date, get notifications on when our episodes come out in the future, as well as not only this podcast but the other podcasts we've run here on the network, as we've been running for as consistent as we can, even though consistency is still something that we're looking to work on. But for the U15 male prep Buffaloes, their consistency has been at a high level so far during their time in the 2026 Western Championships Division 2 of that side of the bracket. As yeah, Pilot Mound, their U15 male preps made it all the way to the finals last year, looking to, well, come away with the gold this time around, as they just fell short in the finals last year. As for the male U17 preps, of course, they'll be starting off next week to, be the final age group to get going. And also, best of luck to the female U18 prep Buffaloes, who are just underway now, taking on Shawnigan Lake School. They get, of course, OHA Black tomorrow, wishing them the best down in Penticton during their time there. And yeah, also great to see that Pilot Mountain's been able to do some sightseeing, checking out the beautiful parts of, the province of BC, the city of Penticton, and of course the destinations where we've stopped along the way. I believe they got a chance to check out Lake Louise. There was a picture of the U15s on their Instagram. But yeah, plenty of great times, great memories being made once again around Pilot Mound Hockey Academy this season, and we can't wait to continue to showcase that coming up not only next week, but in our episodes 2 and off our season 3 of podcasting for the Buffaloes podcast this year. But once again, thank you to Gordy Tummelson for joining the show. Special thanks to you, the viewer, for tuning into this one. Whether you're a regular viewer or a new viewer here, we'll see you next week. Buffaloes Nation. Special thanks to our sponsors, as well as Pilot Mound sponsors and partners, for continuing to support us. And yeah, until next week, when we see you either on Friday, maybe on Wednesday, Ty Unroe is going to leave us off with the March of the Buffaloes theme, June Award winner, Ty Unroe. So, yeah, until next time, everybody, we'll see you then.